You're listening to our SeniorVu Podcast, Off Your Rocker.
That was very good.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I'm so excited that this is our first one.
I hear the applause through podcast platforms. I hear people.
I think so too. I think they're already clapping, and actually they're scratching their head and then they're clapping. Yeah. What is this?
Huh?
So
What's
are you going to
explain?
No. I think they're smart enough to know that.
Oh, okay.
Off Your Rocker. So let's talk for a second about what this is.
I think what it is disrupting. So we're going to get off our rocker. We're going to get out in the world and do things differently. That's how I interpret it. But I think that's a little odd. But I'm an odd person, so I think that's okay.
I love that.
Okay.
I think, though, we need to specify what industry we're talking about.
Senior living.
Yes.
Senior living industry.
Yes.
Which is a big industry.
Yes.
The baby boomers are coming.
They
are.
It's
a silver tsunami.
That I know. I love
How many
that.
hot words can I use right now?
No, but it's true. I mean, there's so many of us, baby boomers, that are heading in that direction.
Yeah. That care, the services, communities, it's going to be a big need in the coming years, in the next 10 years. Right. It's still growing.
So Off Your Rocker was a name that came up because the communications person at the company was like, I don't know what we should call this. Valissa. So I put out the word to the whole team and said, I need your creative juices. And so they then came up with all kinds of we had some really great name ideas that came out of all of that.
Some really funny ones and some really creative ones.
Yeah. I think you and I liked Valissa and Billy having wine, talking about senior living.
That was my favorite.
I know.
I think I actually submitted that one.
I think you did. And
you
loved it so much.
Our COO was highly in favor of it.
He was every time. He was like, no, what's wrong with that title? Just do that.
Yeah.
But actually the team voted because we're just that way. And Chandler came up with Off Your Rocker, which we loved. And she ended up being the one to create the logo. I mean, it was just sort of weird.
Yeah. That chain of events was incredible.
Well, the thing about Chandler that I think is important to share is that she is was one of our family advocates. And well, I think she just left.
She's part-time.
Oh, she is? Oh, great. Yeah. So we haven't lost track.
No. She's just moving to the Pacific Northwest.
She's moving to the Pacific Northwest, so she'll still be doing that for us because she's so good at it.
She's very good.
So she's this creative person who came up with the title. She came up with the logo, which is very cool because it's not like rocker. It's like a guitar.
Right,
I can't fake a guitar right now, but a guitar.
And it makes me think back to some of the direct mail pieces that we did, where we did the Granny Rock Band piece for some of our communities, which was very memorable. That a lot of people loved that idea of a direct mail piece.
I mean, I loved it.
It was relatable to, senior living is different nowadays, and I think that's what the message we were trying to send is. It's not what you think it is.
Right.
And sometimes, I don't know, the rock band type of things can have the wrong kind of connotation or stigma. And that's what we were trying to do is don't judge it by its cover there.
Right.
Let's get in there and see what it's like. And so that was the idea behind that, the Granny Rock Band piece. But I think that's the same thing that we're kind of going with this podcast.
Right.
Is senior living has, everyone calls, I'll use the naughty word right now, nursing home. I grew up everyone knowing it was a nursing home. And it's not. There's so many different care levels. There's memory care, there's assisted living, there's independent living, there's 55 plus. And that's a big change in a lot of people, and they don't understand that these different types of services are available to them. And that's what we're here trying to do is get them to understand there's different, not just to the consumer, but to our industry who are using different types of technology to make the service better for the consumer.
And I love the off the rocker connotation with this baby boomer silver tsunami we're talking about because we are the rocker era, Billy.
Yes.
We are. We're the ones who invented it.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hoochie-coo. Yeah, we did.
So the Beatles?
I don't know them, but I've played more of their songs than you have.
Oh, okay.
So I think that whole piece then, comes together to make this a really great, at least a great name. We hope with our content, we will make it a great podcast too for folks to hang in there and listen to us.
I think we're going to do great. But I think we need to, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Do that.
So, I'm Billy Daniels, VP of Digital Marketing here at SeniorVu. I've been here about 3 years now, and I handle all of the lead generation for all of our clients and our website and any sort of conversion rate optimization that can be done on the digital side of things for not just our internal websites, but our clients' websites as well. And then That's a lot.
That's a lot.
You guys but do. I have a really great team. Yeah. I'm very reliant on my team, and they do majority of the pulling of the levers, and I'm more of the strategic mind to help them work through the problems and get the services delivered to our clients.
And we're going to talk more about digital marketing, but Billy, you are so incredibly talented in that area. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people think, our communities are doing digital marketing, right, and we know, and we've got a guy at the agency and that's what he's doing. But I have learned in the last, because I too, Velissa Smith, VP Communications, have been here for 3 years. And I have learned so much about all of that, because we're like, digital marketing. That's, what is that? That's stuff online.
Right.
That's what that is. But it's just so much more in the strategy that your team puts together for each individual community to get the results that they need is really very cool.
It's and that's, thank you for saying that. And I think that the big thing for us is a lot of the senior living industries know they need digital marketing, and they know that they want those services in their community. They know they need to have a website. What we find is typically that consumers' experience is broken, is they're getting different messages at different times, and or they are not even sure where some of the leads are coming from. And that's where SeniorVu has done just a phenomenal job. Is we knew from the get-go is we had to measure everything. And if we couldn't measure everything, how could we show success to somebody? And so that's where we really started, is we created a platform that allowed all the different sources to come in, and you could filter them by AdWords campaigns. It was AdWords back then. It's now Google Ads, Bing, Facebook, wherever you're putting these ads out there, and or just your web presence. We could ingest that into the SeniorVu platform and then tell you where your leads are coming from. And there are CRMs that are doing that. It's not like this is a new thing, but it's newer to senior living.
Yes.
And that's where, when we come in, we really analyze the website. Where is your traffic coming from? Where are the weaknesses that we can put either remarketing campaigns in or retargeting campaigns in, or how can we focus on converting the leads that you already have? Typically, you're getting enough people to your website, you're just not doing anything with them. And that's where we've had so much success.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we'll do a whole podcast around that coming up.
Yeah. So it'll be a huge topic.
I know we have so many great topics that we want to cover in future podcasts coming down the pike. Everything from, I love, one of my favorite things about SeniorVu is that the platform literally takes people from the moment somebody engages online. We are tracking that individual. We are helping the communities with our contact center, with the FAM team. FAM team stands for Family Advocate Managers or mentors managers. That word's gone back and forth a few times over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But bottom line is that these are an incredible group of people who are talking to families every single day. It's that. Then it's helping that community with a tour in terms of booking that tour for them. Then the community takes it from there and they go do the cool thing that communities do, and that is take them for a visit and convince them to move in. And then
get
after
them to fall in love.
Get them to fall in love.
Yeah.
And then at the end of all that, which is not really the end, it's the beginning for them, but we come in again and continue to engage that particular family, because that's the reputation management stuff that we're helping communities with. Yeah. So what I love is that we're not just this one little piece of the pie. No. We're like a whole great big Costco pie.
We're the journey pie.
We're the journey pie.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're all the pieces.
There's a video I can produce right there. The journey pie. I love that.
It's very timely with Thanksgiving coming up.
It is very timely with Thanksgiving coming up. So there are so many things that we'll be able to discuss and share coming up. So that'll be great.
Yeah. And we have a lot of good guests lined up. I think we're excited to release some of those different types of guests that we have coming on who are influencers in the industry. But, I think the thing that we need to talk a little bit about is, why we want to do this podcast. Mm-hmm. I think, why do we feel that this podcast is a necessity, specifically towards the senior living industry?
I personally think that there are those in the industry who they know that they're behind in technology. And I think there's not all of them, but some people, it's just hard. It's embarrassing if you don't feel like you know, and they don't have time to go out and learn every little thing about it, where maybe they can plug into this podcast for 20, 30 minutes in their car on the way to work and glean some insights to their sales process that perhaps we can help.
Tips, something we can maybe teach them. And I agree with you. I think the big thing is that we hope to influence them to make change. There are a lot of technologies. The industry, not everyone, but majority of them are broken in terms of, I think, I just had a conversation with someone in sales and marketing at a pretty large senior living company. And I was amazed at the lack of visibility they had into their analytics and their source data, where leads were coming from, and if those leads were converting down funnel. I'm not just talking about getting them from an ad or your website into your community as a call or a form fill. I'm talking past that point of what's happening once you do say, okay, this is a qualified lead. So now it's a sales qualified lead versus a marketing qualified lead. They were losing so much visibility. They couldn't even tell us how many tours they were getting from their ad campaigns, their Facebook page, their Bing campaigns, or their Microsoft campaigns. So to me, that was sad, because that's where we really focused on SeniorVu at the beginning, was to make sure that the attribution model was spot on. But I think that's where I'm going with this, is that the industry doesn't know what it doesn't know.
Right.
And it's hard to listen to some of these people, but it's also it's a budget standpoint. Like we're smart people here at SeniorVu. We understand that you can't just go get every piece of software that would allow your life to be easier, but we try to make this as affordable as possible. In the FAM team, our contact center is definitely the biggest part of this. It's not just the attribution model; it's the ability to qualify these leads quickly in a timely manner, less than 5 minutes, and then get them over to the community and set a tour. That's where we see is there's false conversion rates being had all the time at these community levels. Is people are reporting wrong. They're only reporting on the leads that enter into their CRM. And so then we go up against and they say, well, our tour to move-in rate is 50%. And we look at them and go, well, SeniorVu converts at, I'm making this up, is 25%. And they go, well, why would I want to use you? You guys don't convert as high. And the question that we always pose back to people is, are you counting all your leads? And from SeniorVu, we have the visibility to all the leads, even the disqualified leads. In a lot of the communities in the senior living industry, those disqualified leads are still opportunities. And so we have long-term nurturing cycles and drip campaigns to get these people to move to the next step. And that's really bad of me to say these people, they are people. Seniors matter. Their adult children are people who, and we're not, and that's goes back to how we need to treat them differently in this journey. I think the overused term somewhat is omni-channel, but that's really what we're doing is creating an omni-channel experience. Is that message is going to be on point each time, and it's going to change based on the different statuses. And what do I mean by statuses? If they're in a contact attempt versus a tour schedule versus a post-tour, those messages are going to continually change based on what has happened, not only into the contact center, but through your own CRM, through our integrations.
Well, and the marketing automation piece is something that we really have a corner on in the market, but a lot of people think marketing automation, one is like the other, and that's just not the case. And I can't wait to kind of open up that whole topic and go down that path with people, because I think it'll be helpful. The communities, and I'm not telling you, Billy, anything that you don't already know. Part of it is that they are just so stretched. Budgets,
totally.
as you were time, they're stretched.
Yeah.
The staffing is stretched. Everything, they're just, and we are in the business of helping them because we're passionate about what it is that they do, which is take care of our loved ones.
Right.
And so we just want to make them as efficient and effective at their jobs as possible.
Yeah. And we have to prove ourselves. I mean, we're still very young as a company in the industry of 4 years, 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, a little more than that. I'd say 4.5 years of being in here. And trust is something we have to earn. And I would say that we're on the cusp of getting that from a lot of people, because we've done a lot of great things of terms of not just what our platform is capable, but the people we have here. We have incredible team members who are incredibly smart people. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to come here. Was I interviewed and met with everybody, and I was intimidated through the interview process because I kept sitting there and thinking, wow, everyone is so smart, and who am I? But I walked away going, they're going to teach me so much stuff. That's why I want to be there. And luckily
that's so me.
Right. Yes.
I didn't know anything. I'm like, what's an API? Yeah. I mean, that was those were kind of notes I was writing down in meetings because I was so far from being in the technology software industry.
But you've come a long ways.
I have.
You've come a long ways.
And I think if I can say this, I think some personal experience was what really threw me into doing this, was the fact that, I had elderly parents at the time, and they were needing care, and in-laws and all that kind of stuff. No, I was gonna jab you because you were like, oh, the company started about 3 years ago. Yeah. The company actually started almost 5 years ago.
Right.
We just think it only started when we started
here. Right.
3 years ago.
Well, that's when it got really. That's when it got really good. When we got here.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's exactly right. Okay, so I think that we have. I think we've covered some of the things we wanted to cover off the top. Yeah. I say we take a break.
I 100% agree with this.
And I say we bring in a very special guest who is the CEO and co-founder of SeniorVu. And I can't wait for him to share
this conversation. Is going to go. It's going to be amazing.
We might as well sit back and smoke a cigarette. Yeah. Because he's going to be in storytelling mode.
Yeah. He's going to inspire us all.
I know. I love it. Okay.
All right. Let's go to break.
You're listening to
the SeniorVu Podcast, Off Your Rocker, with Billy Daniels and Valissa Smith.
We'll be right back.
Okay, we are back. This is the SeniorVu Podcast, Off Your Rocker. We have myself, Billy Daniels, and Valissa Smith, and our special guest, our CEO, Tim Donnelly.
Dude. I love
That's all I got.
There's no stopping.
That sounds like breaking news. Yeah.
Well, I was just commenting on these brand new headphones. The last time I wore some of these was a few years ago, and they're at some radio station, and they looked a little used. Thank you so much for letting me be the first to wear these.
Yes, doesn't that feel good?
You look good in them.
Yeah, you do.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we're so glad to have you come in and join us on the very first podcast because we feel like it's a logical place to begin. I love the story. Yeah, say hi to the camera. Hi, camera.
Hello.
I love the story about how you and Tom. Do you want to pull the mic closer to you?
Yeah,
you
seem a little. Or I could do that.
Well, here.
I'm working it.
Here you can take it and really point it right at your
mouth.
mouth.
Can move. Yeah.
Like See, Star is Born.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start singing.
Bradley Cooper is in the studio.
He's here.
Wannabe.
Does that make me Lady Gaga? Or?
Oh,
wow.
My. Wow. A little edgy starting off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I mean, you are looking right at me. You just go ahead and sing.
You know
to
what
me.
I'm thinking. All right, back to the show.
So I want to hear, and I want you to share, I've heard it a million times, and I love the story about how you and Tom started SeniorVu and how it all got started and when, because even though the company's been around, almost 5 years now, this was something that was conceptualized prior to that even.
Yes.
So share, will you please?
So first of all, Tom was my big brother way back when. Actually, I worked directly for Tom. So I think I was about 25, 26 years old when I first met him. And so he was a executive vice president of some technology company, and I was some rookie that came in from selling in the printing industry.
Thinking you're real hot stuff.
Have you ever seen The Office, that little show?
Oh yeah,
I was
Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah, I was Jim, so I was the youngest guy by 20 years.
Wow.
Anyway, so I switched industries from printing over to technology, and Tom, lo and behold, flies into St. Louis, Missouri at the time. That's where I was, my wife and I. And so he met me and he says, "Who do you report to?" And I go, "That guy over there." And that guy, he didn't necessarily, I don't think they got along that well. So he goes, "You report to me now." And I'm like, all right, sir. Anyway, he took me under his wing and truly mentored me for several years. And after that company was sold to Xerox, so that was our little first taste of taking some chips off the table. He went off to be CEO of 6 different companies, both on the East Coast and down in Austin. Anyway, so after that, I started SeniorVu, and that was in November of 1999. And so my first phone call when I wanted to start a board was to Tom Goldman. So there's a history there between the two of us working together, him as my big brother, him as the wise mentor that he is for me. I felt like he always had my back. So when we had an opportunity to expand our company, we had just gone through years of saving up because we lived through the financial crisis as being a mortgage tech provider. So after that, I said, we're going to save every nickel we have. And so we did. And we were looking to make an acquisition on a company. And that company provided some services to senior living. So we booked a booth at some senior living show. And lo and behold, that partnership didn't come to fruition, but we kept our booth. It said like mortgage something on it. And I'm at a senior living conference called Alpha at that time. It was down in Tampa. Anyway, so it was interesting because number one, there's big problems in the industry. Number two, the guy looking over my shoulder providing me advice as we're looking at this opportunity was Tom Goldman, because I called Tom to help me think through this acquisition, this partnership thing that we're going to do. And he was like, Tim, this is your calling. This is a big deal. And my mom had just passed away a few months earlier. And I go, I know this space because I've lived it. I'm the youngest of 6. My siblings and I have seen first our dad go through the aging process with Alzheimer's, and that was brutal just because it was so frustrating. We didn't know what to do, and the providers in the industry at that time were not very responsive. And so when this calling came up, I was like, this is it. It's coming from above. And so let's do it. So that's when I said, Tom, here's a scoop. You've got to come. You've got to be a part of this. So as our co-founder, he's been a phenomenal leader and so blessed to have him part of the team.
We have to talk about that a little bit, your relationship with Tom.
Yes.
I don't know that you and I, or maybe Billy, you've asked him about it before, but no. I don't think I really have. I mean, other than we all observe it in the office, and it's kind of fun because sometimes you are the best brothers ever, and sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
are they fighting? Yeah.
We always take it behind closed doors.
Yeah,
you might hear something.
You don't. No, we don't.
We do. Yeah. We've got just a tremendous appreciation and respect for one another. And there's no question that there are times when we have, when we have to make decisions and we have our different angles, and that gets interesting. But you know what? 100% of the time, we've always come out, incredibly positive from that experience. And that's really what gives us confidence as a company, is that we look at things from a lot of different angles. And I think when we make decisions, they're for the greater good. Even though we've had a couple of pivots in our business model, going from lead-based to success-based, now we're on a subscription/platform based model, and but we've learned so much.
My gosh.
And so having Tom there as the wise old owl, I'm sure he loves being called a wise old owl, but it gives me a lot of confidence going to market with him, having my back on the operations side.
Well, I feel like for us as leadership team members, it's a great balance.
Very much
Tim
so.
and Tom are a great balance to lead us through these new waters, if you will.
Totally. Yeah. Tom is, as you said, the wise old owl. But I think I turn to him for even life advice on stuff, because he's been through so much. He's seen so much, and he's great grandfather to his grandchildren. And
great? Did you say great?
Well, he's great.
He is terrific. A great.
Oh,
like terrific.
I'm describing him. Yeah, he's a terrific. Maybe he is a great grandfather. I don't know. Yeah.
Easy there.
No, he's not.
He's a wonderful grandfather.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, he's a terrific grandfather. Yes. And from my perception, just when I see, you all together in the boardroom or whatnot, when you're working through something, just watching you, the respect you can see through your relationship, and that is something that I value. I think, we take the team members thing very serious here. We're not employees, we're team members. And I think that comes from the top. You and Tom doing a great job of showing how you can have a professional relationship. You can disagree, like you said, and work through that and become better at the end of it. And we talk about this all the time. What have we learned? And I see that from you two when you're in the Kaufman boardroom writing on the wall, and it looks sometimes like Tom's conducting an orchestra when he's writing so much on the board, and you're just sitting there.
His handwriting has come along.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's wow. Yeah, there you go, Tom.
My artistic side.
Yeah,
Tom, come on, really work on the cursive.
Yeah, someone take a picture of the notes. Okay. That's great. Yeah, no, but I really do think it comes from the top down. I think that you and Tom lead very well here and allow us to be creative at the same time and get. I talk to Vliss about this all the time, is you get the best out of us by inspiring us to be ourselves. And sometimes that doesn't happen at a lot of companies. And I think that that's something I'm very grateful for. And I think that that's why we do take the team members very serious here. And we don't use the naughty word of employee. So I thank you for that.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we learn fast, and the fact that you and Tom both have an entrepreneurial background, yours going through Pipeline, which is an entrepreneurial program in the Midwest that is very, very prestigious. Congratulations for being a member of the chartered class. Chartered class in Pipeline. But I think all of that experience from both of you, and that is one of the things I like the best, is that we learn fast and we switch gears when it's time to switch gears, where I think a lot of companies go, well, let's just try that for about 6 months and see how,
Right.
And when you guys know it's not right, boom, we move on to another.
Let's fail fast, for sure. I definitely feel that all the time is let's at least give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then let's move on to the next thing. But also, what did we learn from that mistake? Not mistake, but what did we learn from that aspect of what we were trying? And can we maybe apply it differently to the next venture? So
and I think our clients appreciate that. We've, whether it was on the mortgage side of the business years ago or today, it's they appreciate us trying to push the envelope. They appreciate us going through this process to figure out what's good and what's not, what helps and what doesn't. So I think our clients expect it. And so that's motivating us as a leadership team to really let's go find new ways to do things. Let's validate them or invalidate them, and then share that with our clients, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, strategic partners. I think that's the word we hear a lot from some of our clients, is we're a great strategic partner. But I throw that back at them, is we wouldn't be as strategic as we are if they weren't as strategic as they are. Yeah. It's all about a great relationship. Yeah. So. Totally agree.
I agree.
So what do you think of our podcast?
Love
so far?
It. Love it.
You feeling it?
Our voices sound perfect. I don't think I don't think the audience might think it, but
is this how we're going to have every meeting going forward?
Everybody has a microphone.
You always have to come in here.
You sound angelic, Billy. It's the headphones. I'm going to wear these headphones all day.
Excuse me. Let me put these back on and then talk to me. Yeah.
That is so great. So no, we're excited about it. We really are, and can't wait to share with the world all the cool things that we're learning and ways to help senior living, whether they're our clients or not. About moving the needle, as we like to say around here, and helping them with occupancy and sales support and all those great things. Staffing.
It's a new one.
It's a new one. I know. I'm excited about that one.
So what are some of the topics that are going to be talked about?
Ooh.
Oh, well, we talked a little bit about this earlier, digital marketing, right? Because I think so many, like I have learned so much in the last 3 years. I thought digital marketing was like, oh yeah, you're on the internet. That's it. And it's just way more than that. And I think that this industry, as a lot of industries do, but particularly this one, has so much yet to learn. And Billy's team, I think, does a fantastic job with our clients. And
I have a fantastic
So that's
team.
what you do. So that's a topic right there. Staffing, as you mentioned, is another huge topic. And I can't wait for us to announce what we're doing. I know we've got a pilot going on right now with staffing.
Big news.
With one of our
Unbelievable.
And the results are crazy.
Yep.
I'm so excited about that.
Marketing automation.
Yes.
Another big topic.
Love that topic.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wonder why you love that topic so much.
Yeah. What have you? What's your prior history
Yes.
before SeniorVu?
Let's talk about that.
Sure. You want right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we, in 1999, we had this vision to create a company to help businesses communicate more effectively. And lo and behold, if that idea didn't turn into a marketing automation platform. And so at that time, we were taking video and we're applying it to a business application.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Huh? Yeah.
Because that was crazy at the time.
Yeah, sure. There's no such thing as like Google Fiber
Right.
or fast modems. Everything was dial-up. But we were trying to interject video into a business process. And at that time, ironically, it was to take a video interview of a candidate and put that out on this thing called the cloud and allow hiring managers to look at those video interviews and say, yes, I want to meet with them face-to-face or not. So we said it would streamline the sales process. Lo and behold, these salespeople at these staffing companies that we deployed the technology to would sit in front of the camera and they would say, hey, this is Amy Gillum. I'm with Spherion. I'm a sales manager. This is a technology that we use to streamline the hiring process. Are you interested?
Ding, ding, ding,
Yes.
ding.
And so when she would send that, and actually there's a little shout out for Amy Gillum way back when. Anyway, that was like 20 years ago. I think she's doing very well out in Northern California. Anyway, so what she would do is she would send that video out via email to a prospective customer, and that when that customer looked at her little sales video, she got a notification back saying that this person is looking at your video. So she would make an outbound phone call, and lo and behold, that person was blown away. I'm looking at your video right now.
How did that
It's
happen?
awkward,
How did you
but-
do that?
And so somebody, roll ahead a couple of years, somebody in the mortgage industry saw that was taking a lot of leads from a company called Lending Tree. And so they wanted to send out a video welcome message to these virtual borrowers. And so they crushed it. That company sold to a very large company. And it was a big milestone for us because it validated this whole idea. And things got crazy for the next few years because we started bringing on more and more banks and lending institutions. And I think at one point we had a 60% market share of that space.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And it was a testament to the team for building out this idea into a platform that integrated with Salesforce.com and was used by so many banks and lending institutions that it really was a proud moment. Even to this day, that platform is being used by, I think, 4 of the top 10 banks
Wow.
That's amazing.
in the U.S. So I don't know the exact numbers, but a private equity firm bought SoftVu, rolled us into another company called Loyalty Express, and that company today is called Volley. Tremendous team of people there, and just I'm so excited to bring that same type of technology to senior living, because there's, as you mentioned, Valissa, there's so much opportunity to provide value. And it's right in front of us. And so I see these platforms like HubSpot and other platforms that are very horizontal in nature. What we found that those platforms really didn't have a place in these strategic vertical markets that had a lot of nuances in their process workflow. And the same is true in senior living. That's why I think we have a great opportunity to bring our sophistication of marketing automation to senior living, tailor it in a way that makes it easy to use and very impactful, where it's transparent, the results are right there in front of you, and integrating all of that into this vertically built industry called senior living.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
And I think, of course, that is the piece that you have the most experience with. But what I love is that it's not just that piece, that it's all of these other elements that I think of it in this, I'm like moving my hands horizontally because I just feel like we have this whole plethora of sales support elements that we're able to bring to senior living that is going to have such a huge impact.
Well, yeah, if you think about the evolution of SeniorVu and what has happened since the ideation occurred, is that we saw the need to provide better leads for these senior living communities because of their resident turnover.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my gosh, they have more than 50% resident turnover per year. And of course, entrepreneurial, it's like, wow, there's a great business there, I think.
Let's get in there. Yeah.
And really when we rolled it out, it was like, it was so humbling because like, well, what are we going to do with these leads? You know, maybe they're not ready. And it's like, well, you'll use marketing and automation to nurture them. And so things were not connected. That was the problem. Yeah. Is that our marketing and automation system could not connect with these other systems or platforms that they're using. And so it's like, uh-oh. And then A Place for Mom did a very good job of marketing this concept of, you know, when a resident moves in, they probably came from us, so you owe us the first month rent. So that was like, and everybody said, well, if you're going to play the game, you got to play it that way. And it's like, okay. So we did that for, I don't know, a couple of years and donated a lot of money to charity, the Place for Mom charity.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
And it really was, we knew that we had to build out a contact center that was focused on helping these communities really provide a better experience for the leads that came into their world, whether that's a web form or inbound phone call, after hours, on the weekends. We knew that the industry wasn't doing the best job that they could, providing a great experience for these families.
Because they're busy.
Yeah,
they're busy.
They are. Yeah. They're providing care for those residents. Right. And so it makes perfect sense that we help them build a platform that included this contact center, this FAM team that we describe it as, the Family Advocate Management Team. Mm-hmm. And really it's them at the centerpiece of us delivering that first impression, that great first impression that's needed for these families that are really in search of help. Right. And so anyway, that's kind of the evolution of it. And then digital marketing came into play, and there's no question that these senior living communities can benefit if they're the ones generating the leads under their own brand versus somebody else generating the lead. And when you pay them for that, it basically goes into their brand. And so it's just building their treasure chest, and that doesn't help the senior living community really have a better brand awareness or brand presence in their footprint.
And I think our family advocates are just amazing. Yep. And granted, you know, of course they're here and all that, but when you listen to other contact centers, and a lot of communities will use those that are not specific to the industry, and then you listen and work with ours.
Can you listen to other contact centers?
Well,
do they have call recordings like we do?
Well, no, but
inside our platform.
No, but you can make a fake call, Billy. It's called
I'm just
being
saying,
a secret shopper.
I'm just saying
Don't
that.
You know about that?
Oh, I totally know, but I'm just saying, you know, we have the call recordings directly in our platform.
Yeah.
You can listen to it in the palm of your hand from our app.
Yes, we can. So. Yes, we can. There's so many great things.
Yeah, it is. And so we're blessed to serve this industry because it's so easy to comprehend the purpose, right?
Right.
It's like if seniors deserve the best care. I mean, think about the
seniors
lives.
Matter.
Yeah, seniors matter. They've helped so many people in their lives in this world. And so as they get to those golden years, they deserve the best.
Right.
And so the more that we can help our clients focus on that care and take some of the tedious tasks off their plate that are very important, again, delivering a great first impression to those families that enter into their world, I think is so important. And so that's really, it's a blessing to be a part of this.
Totally, yeah.
Last thing I want to bring up before, I think we've probably talked a lot here today. Are you tired? I'm so sorry.
I'm parched.
But the last thing I want to bring up is something that that is on our wall out here in our office, and it's on a lot of our marketing material because it is the truth. And that is something that I heard you say 3 years ago when I got here. I was like, What'd you say, Tim Donnelly?
Yep.
Let's talk about that. Where
Yep.
did that come from? And share that for a moment, and then we'll.
Sure. It came from my first year in pipeline, the charter class. So I was so this whole process of hanging out with roughly a dozen other entrepreneurs, talking about all the problems and turmoils that you may be facing. It's hard to do that with your spouse or coworkers. So it's nice to have that those peers that you can really. You can share some deep thoughts with. So anyway, we're having a conversation about purpose and what are we building. And one of the members or fellows at the time, Deb Ellis.
Oh, I love Deb.
Yeah, Deb. She's a great lady. So she goes, I really want to create a culture that we don't live to work. We work so that we can have lives. And I'm like, interesting. So I came back to her and I said, hey, at the end of that charter class year, I said, hey, Debs, I took your thought and I formalized it. And so this is back in 2007. Mm-hmm. And so I said, what we want to say is work to live and live to serve for the greater good. So if you think about that, we come to work and it's here at work. So it reminds everybody that there's a more important place in the team members' lives. And that's really out in the community, in their homes. And so we work to live, right? We don't live to work. Mm-hmm. And when we live, we're there to serve. And so whether that's serving our family, our community, one another, that's something that's bigger than oneself. Right. So I'm not a self-serving kind of guy.
Right.
And so the greater good is just that. There's something more powerful there that's driving us to do things that are for the greater good. So that's where it came from, and that's why it's on the wall, and that's why it's on our brochures and everything, because it's a purpose that is everything, right? So hopefully all team members buy into it because it's not going anywhere, and hopefully our clients appreciate that, because whenever we have to make a decision, it's always we take that into account. We want to take the high road, not the low road, and the high road is the greater good.
And it's part of our culture, which will be another podcast.
Oh, yes. I was just, as he was saying that, I was thinking that.
It's just about our culture.
Yeah.
It'll be so much fun.
Man.
Tim, thank you, not only for starting the company and inviting us to come work with you, which has been terrific.
Allowing us to start a podcast, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
I know. It's so fun. It's so fun.
We really will have all of our meetings in here from now on and talk to each other.
Through the mics, whether recorded or
I know,
not.
it sounds so good.
Yeah.
It does. It does. All right. Well, thanks for listening to those who've tuned in. And you're listening to the SeniorVu Podcast. Off your rocker. Do you think we should have it sound like that when we do the open?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Something like
We're
that.
going to toy with it. I love it.
Okay. We'll work on that. All right.
Great.
Have a great day.
Peace.